What dark force rips this devoted couple apart? Why does this Romeo lose his head? And a group who make love not war as mates meet their match in raw nature. Animals pair in many different ways. They can mate en masse, fight for their rights, or do it on the sly. And some mate like there's no tomorrow. In the wild, dating can be savage, tender, or downright terrifying. These are great mates. Black-backed jackals pair for life. These two have been together for 3 years. They've looked out for each other, after each other, and raised a family together. Even when they're apart, constant calling keeps them in touch. They've staked out their family home and will defend it and their families to the death. They even stick together when they mate, literally. After copulation, the end of the male's penis swells to 5 times its original size, and they're locked together in a dog knot. Yet this relationship is about to be savagely ripped apart. Within a few days, this devoted female will forsake her partner for another. As night falls, changes are afoot. A stranger's on the prowl. He's a young male who's just left home and is looking for a territory of his own and a mate. He doesn't care if she's spoken for. He's determined to get a partner, even if it means war. As soon as the rival males lock eyes, a vicious, blood-curdling fight erupts. The stranger is younger, fitter. The father is tired from scavenging trips to feed his family. The match is far from fair. His partner can only watch. Soon, this is a duel to the death. The old male is savagely wounded. After a final nuzzle with his life partner, he hobbles away into the night. The newly crowned top dog wastes no time. He wants his prize, to mate with the mother. But she's not interested and lets him know just what she thinks. He might have won the fight, but he hasn't won her heart. However, he's not prepared to give up. The newcomer's about to take drastic action. One by one, he kills her pups. Now she has nothing. All she can do is hope her partner will return. By morning, there's still no sign. He's died from his wounds. His battered body offers nothing but a snack for a crow. His widow has no choice but to cut her losses and look to the future. She wants the chance to raise more pups, and that means facing her mate's killer. Eventually, she starts to succumb to the stranger's charms. Bouts of play fighting help establish a bond. Gradually, he wins her over. They mate. The widow and the killer forge a new partnership. They'll keep the same home, fill it with new pups, and defend their lifestyle with a passion. But every year will bring fresh males scouring the land for territory and partners. Killer could easily become victim in this never-ending battle for mates. For some, mating grounds provide a year-round home. For others, seasonal changes force a nomadic lifestyle. These antelope live on Zambia's floodplains. They're red lechwe and are designed for the wet life. Long, splayed hooves make light work of the marshes. Half a meter of water, no problem. Their nostrils close up so they can graze on submerged plants. But although this liquid landscape's good for food, it's hopeless for starting a family. Water levels fluctuate. If male lechwe want to establish a mating territory, only dry land will do. But it doesn't come without a fight. High ground's in short supply. The result's a marketplace of individual mating agencies called leks. The floor space of each varies from 15 to 200 square meters, but the aim's the same, to attract female customers. Once doors are open, there's no shortage of interest. Females come from far and wide, following scent trails left by other does. But for the bucks, it's no free-for-all. This mating arena is a highly sexually charged battleground. At the center is the ultimate lek, presided over by the ultimate male, the marsh master. It's his company and his genes the females want. He's got his work cut out to keep his pitch. There are plenty of males ready to usurp him. It's a constant merry-go-round between mating and fighting. As night falls, latecomers and weaker males are still battling at the water's edge, risking serious injury and even death. to get the last piece of high ground. But despite the bloodshed, the system works well for both sexes. The does shop around for the strongest specimens, while the bucks have all the potential mates in their sights without having to track them through the marsh. And en masse, they are less likely to get predated. The worst violence these lecking lovers face is from each other. Mating lechwe like their land high and dry. The next creatures like just the opposite. In Arizona, a group of male spadefoot toads dig their way free from their burrows and head for a fresh pond. They've been sleeping underground for 10 months. Now the rains have come, they burst straight into song. They're lusty and loud with good reason. This is a race against time. Their calls are meant to attract females from hundreds of meters away, which isn't always a good thing. This is a dangerous place to sing. A hog-nosed snake is listening. Back in the bachelor pond, the females start to arrive. With the pool drying up, it's straight down to business. Mating takes place in water, on mud, underwater, and just about anywhere. Not all pair off. Unattached males keep singing, but some don't get the audience they'd hoped for. One less in the chorus doesn't stop the mating frenzy. These toads have no time to lose. The orgy climaxes with a mass of egg-laying. Clusters fill the pond, and these unborn children share their parents' taste for haste. They develop in record-breaking time, hatching within 2 days. But the nursery is soon overcrowded. The rains have stopped, the sun's back and burning, and the ponds are evaporating. Neighbors from hell don't help. A tadpole's a welcome treat for a ravenous insect. Eventually, with the walls closing in, things get even worse. The pond turns into a writhing mass of tadpoles, easy prey for beetles. The pressure on the youngsters is now immense. Space is at a premium and oxygen is low. Now the threat comes not just from the outside, but from within. In a desperate fight for survival, brother eats brother, sister eats sister. Those who survive are quick to follow their parents' lead. Crawling from the carnage, they look for a place to bury themselves, until the rains come again and it's their turn to sing for a mate. For others, mating may look more peaceful, but there are still dangers. A July morning in the jungles of India, a group of macaques are enjoying the easy life. Youngsters swim and play. Adults relax and feed before heading back to the shade of the trees. This society is a complex one, a hierarchy. Breeding is strictly controlled. One male leads the troop and dominates the females. The boss has fought his way to the top, so he keeps a close eye out for any challengers. Today it's business as usual. A female lets him know she's ready for sex by tapping on a tree. He's happy to oblige. Down on the ground, someone wants in on the action. The only way this newcomer can get a mate is to try to topple the dominant male. Or is it? This young hopeful doesn't want to fight. He's found an easier path. Slinking away unnoticed, he heads for his date with destiny. Alone in a secluded copse, a female's waiting for him, and despite his lowly rank, she welcomes his advances. But this is a dangerous affair. If the dominant male finds them, she'll be punished and he risks death. Back at home base, all are relaxed and oblivious. The sneaky couple might have moved deeper into the jungle, but they're getting more reckless. The newcomer's paying more attention to detail, but less to his surroundings. Nearby, two kids chase each other, unaware of the mating game which is being played only a tree away. The couple hear their chatter and pause. Not for long. He's desperate to spread his genes, and for her, this is sexual anarchism. The chance to undermine the dominant male's hierarchy and be part of a new one. But things are getting more risky. The freshly groomed dominant male is back on the lookout for sex. In the frenzy of mating, the couple don't hear approaching footsteps. Too late, they've been caught. But luckily, only by another young male, also looking for sex on the sly. The dominant male has found what he wanted, another female. He's none the wiser. This time, the illicit couple survives their brief encounter. But the mating game they play is a dangerous one. While some females welcome extra attention, others have no say. A sand wasp sees daylight for the first time and is immediately swamped by a sea of buzzing bodies. It looks like a frenzied attack. But what's the real story? Six months earlier, a lone female sand wasp digs a nest in the sand. Carefully covering it with a stone, she flies off. She's built a home, now she needs a lodger. This caterpillar will do. A paralyzing sting cements the arrangement. The hapless tenant is dragged into the nest. An egg is laid in its stomach. The mother's work's done. She shuts the door and lets nature take its course. 2 weeks after hatching, her daughter's eaten the grub and is ready for the outside world, where there's a reception committee waiting. A gang of male wasps are feverishly scanning the desert. They're not looking for food, they're looking for a mate. And to find one, it helps to keep an antenna to the ground. As the female scrabbles to freedom, she makes waves. She doesn't even get a chance to spread her wings. The males dive in, desperate to pass on their genes. They fight furiously to mate. It's an exhausting battle. The only guarantee is that the female will fall pregnant. With the mating over, the female can be on her way to build a nest and paralyze some food for her own baby. Meanwhile, the lusty bachelors relentlessly scout, listen, and wait for the next arrival. This marsupial mouse is another sex-mad male, but he fights a lone crusade. He is a male Antechinus. It's taken him a year to reach sexual maturity, and now he's raring to go. Soon, he picks up the scent of a female. If he proves his strength, she'll mate. He does, and they do, repeatedly. But he's still not satisfied. Scurrying around the neighborhood, he looks for more partners. He's stopped eating. All he wants to do is mate and mate and mate again to guarantee that his genes are passed on. Over a frenzied 12-hour period of non-stop lovemaking, he copulates like there's no tomorrow. Which, for this Casanova, there isn't. He pays the heaviest of tolls for his ardor. Stress, starvation, and a hormone overdose cause his immune system to collapse. His fur falls off, his testicles shrink and turn blue. After their 2-week mating season, not a single male Antechinus is left alive. But in a year's time, his sons will carry on his legacy with their very own mating marathons. Antechinus dads die after an overdose of passion, but some males aren't so lucky. Meet the praying mantis. So called because its legs appear bent in gentle prayer. But its motives are far from peaceful. The modified forelimbs of this voracious predator are lethal. Even flies aren't quick enough to escape. The mantis attacks in less than a 20th of a second and clamps its victim in a vice-like grip. It makes fast work of a cricket's armored shell. But praying mantises save their most chilling moves for their lover. Females are much larger than the males, and they use this to their advantage. A male makes a cautious approach. This is no easy date. She seems willing, and he mounts her. Mating begins, but the passion soon turns to horror. The female plants the deadliest love bite imaginable. She starts to eat him head first. Yet still the male's limbs thrust as he continues to mate. How? Because this male is a bundle of nerves. Male praying mantises have two nerve centers. The first in his head warns him of danger. The second in his lower body compels him to mate. As he climbs onto the female, his head warns him of danger, but his lower body speaks louder. He's hardwired to keep mating, even under the threat of death. The fact he's being eaten even makes him ejaculate faster. The reason for this cannibalism is that praying mantises mate at the end of autumn, when food supplies are low. The male is giving his mate not just the fruit of his loins, but the fat of his whole body and a last boost of protein to help her raise their family. Some creatures have such violent reputations, it's hard to imagine how they ever pair up. In the sandy lagoons of the Florida Keys, two nurse sharks bite and grapple. But these fish aren't fighting. Every move they're making is about life, not death. Few creatures have become as vilified as sharks. Myth and legend cloud how we think they live, eat, and hunt. Yet in reality, nothing is as mysterious as how these underwater predators mate. Most courting fish have no ritual, no games, and no touching. Mating is external and en masse. Shoals dart and weave as females release eggs and males sperm in a blizzard of reproduction. Breeding is just a matter of numbers. With an ocean full of hungry mouths, few eggs reach the ocean floor. Fewer still hatch into larvae. Less than 1% survive long enough to make it to breeding age. But sharks play the mating game by a totally different set of rules. Finding a partner can mean a lengthy search, sometimes thousands of kilometers. Hidden deep in the ocean, courting sharks are hard to observe. But because nurse sharks come into the shallows to mate, they reveal some of the secrets of their kind. One of the big surprises is just how old these sharks are. They reach sexual maturity even later than we do, at 18 to 24 years old. It's thought that females advertise their availability by releasing pheromones, but this can attract unwanted attention. When they've made their choice, mating is far from tender. The male bites the female either to stimulate her or to stop her escaping. When he's twisted, turned and rolled her into position, he plants his sperm inside her using one of his two tube-like organs called claspers. Two minutes later, the brief affair is over. For him, it's exhausting work, and he collapses to the bottom of the sea. It's thought only 8% of these mating battles result in pregnancy. Pregnant or not, the female swims away bearing the scars of her encounter. 6 months later, if mating's been a success, the female will give birth to live young, who'll face life on their own. Hidden from roving sharks, some gentler underwater mates gear up for the big moment. Seahorses take their time. Both sexes shine brightly. The male pumps up his paunch to entice the female to join him, and courtship starts with an old-fashioned dance. After 3 days, it's finally time to mate. The female's got up to 300 eggs ready and waiting. So far, it seems conventional. But there's a twist to this dance. Seahorses smash Mother Nature's rules. It's not the females who get pregnant, it's the males. Rising together, the female squirts the eggs from a chamber in her belly straight into the male's. Although he doesn't supply milk, his body courses with the same hormone which makes women lactate. Groups of pregnant males gather in paternity wards. These dads provide a home, incubation, and oxygen for up to 5 weeks. It's weighty work. Up to 50 babies develop inside and are released in batches. But that's it for paternal duties. Like sharks, as soon as the babies are out, they must fend for themselves. Our next sea creatures take a more traditional approach to mating. So traditional, their rituals date back more than 350 million years. These seabirds are relative newcomers to the ceremony, and are here to plunder its riches. They converge on the mid-Atlantic beaches of the USA and gorge non-stop. But who laid on a spread of this size? It's all down to an extraordinary living fossil. Horseshoe crabs. They come from a time way before the dinosaurs. Calling them crabs is misleading. In fact, they're more closely related to spiders and scorpions. Every May, when the moon is full and the tides are high, up to 1 million of these prehistoric throwbacks swamp Delaware's beaches to spawn. The males are first to arrive. They're about 20% smaller than the females, but what they lack in size, they make up for in numbers. Their dates are fashionably late, paddling slowly towards land 2 weeks after the males first formed a queue. They release a pheromone into the water, an intoxicating perfume which drives the menfolk wild. As soon as they're out, the males clamp themselves to the spiked tail of the first female they see. These Romeos are easy to pull, hitching a ride up the beach. Here, females dig shallow nests and lay up to 20,000 eggs. Males are then guided over the nests to do some fertilizing. The job done, other males tag along as chains of breeding horseshoes head back to sea. But of more than 90,000 eggs laid by each crab during the spawning season, it's reckoned only 10 will survive to adulthood. Birds migrating from South America to the Arctic know this is a protein-rich pit stop. Without these eggs, they couldn't survive the long journey to their breeding grounds. So crabs keep mating and birds keep eating during this frenzied 4-week orgy. But for the crusty lovers, egg loss isn't their only problem. Getting back into the water can also be deadly. Crashing waves can easily flip a horseshoe over. Shells quickly fill with sand or mud. For many horseshoe crabs, mating is the last thing they'll do. But despite these losses, this mating system works, and has done for millions of years, long before these grateful birds were a twinkle in nature's evolutionary eye. All across the tropics, from southern Australia to South Africa, some nimble birds are on a mating mission of their own. Female jacanas are set on finding as many mates as they can. These leggy ladies know what they want, and they want a lot of it. The men are happy to oblige, but although they're only half the size of their partners, they've got twice the work to do. For jacanas aren't like most birds. In their world, it's a man's work which is never done. These doting dads are left home alone to tend the eggs and raise the chicks whilst their mother takes a lover and another and another. For the males, it's nervy work. This is a lethal neighborhood. Killers lurk on the banks and in the water. At the first sight of danger, this fearless father runs away. However, this is an act of cunning, not cowardice. At a safe distance from his pad, he flips out. It's an age-old routine, the broken wing display. He's small, he's injured, he's defenseless. Dinner is served. Only it isn't. Once the snake's distracted away from the nest, Dad turns on his heels. He heads home and takes his anxious chicks back under his wing. Meanwhile, Mother's busy with a neighbour and as many other suitors as possible. In a single season, she'll have as many as 30 partners. With so many predators ready to snap up chicks, she's forced to spread her favours and her options. There's just no time for childcare. For the next watery lovers, looking after the kids is never an option. They make the ultimate sacrifice before the next generation is born. Off the coast of California, a scene of carnal carnage begins. For opalescent squid, mating is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They've spent over a year preparing for the big day, traveling in the ocean to find enough food to build themselves up. And they've only got tonight to get it right. When they've found their partner, it's straight down to business. Males plant their sperm into their date using a specialized arm. After mating, females produce several 8-centimeter egg sacs, half the length of their body. Each holds up to 200 fertilized eggs. The mothers use a silken thread to anchor the sacs to the seabed. Soon, the ocean floor sways with a carpet of developing life. The future of squid kind is assured, but the effort to secure it takes a devastating toll on the parents. Exhausted and often injured, their disintegrating bodies litter the sand to fester, rot, or provide snacks for passers-by. When this new generation finally hatches, there'll be no trace of either parent or the struggle which made their existence possible. In the dense jungle of the Congo, two related animals live close by. On the one side, this troop of chimpanzees. On the other, their smaller cousins, the bonobos. Today's a day much like any other in both camps. Eating, sleeping, hanging around. But there's about to be a rumble across this jungle, and the way the groups react couldn't be more different. The sight of a female rump, swollen and inviting, sends the chimpanzees into battle. Chimpanzees can be notoriously aggressive, and today they're gonna fight for the right to mate. Deeper in the forest, it's a different story. The bonobos are calm, relaxed, and peaceful. The females are ready, willing, and able, but there's no rush, no stampede, no fighting. Very similar animals with very similar urges. So why the difference? Chimpanzee troops are dominated by males who flaunt their strength and status with charging displays. Sticks, stones, and any weapons which come to hand are used in bruising encounters. Meanwhile, the bonobos are making love, not war. Bonobos are the most highly sexed animal on the planet. Unlike all the animals we've seen so far, they mate anywhere at any time with anyone, and they do it for fun. They've replaced aggression with sex. In bonobo troops, females have the edge. They form close bonds, even if they're not related, stick together at all times, and share food as well as mates. Sex is used to resolve conflicts, ease tensions, and make friends, creating a society of near equals. These encounters rarely top 15 seconds, but what they lack in quality, they make up for in quantity. Over in the chimpanzee camp, calm is eventually restored. The toughest male is happy. He's mated. Those who didn't only get to lick their wounds. Order's restored. And it's business as usual for the bonobos. The love-in's finished for today. It's time to feed and rest before the next group get together. The proof that bonobo sex is for fun can be seen in the size of the families. Despite their incessant mating, the rate of reproduction is no greater than the chimpanzees. And ironically, these sex-mad primates are a dying breed. In a world bent on habitat destruction, the ideal of a commune of lovers finds little support. In the wild, choose your mate carefully. Suitors come in all shapes, sizes, and numbers. Some are friendly, some are frenzied, some are ferocious. However you do it, mating is always a matter of life or death in raw nature.